Joyce Beatty, the establishment Democratic incumbent in Ohio, unfortunately defeated Justice Democrat Morgan Harper. Now, that story is obviously not a great one if you care about progressives taking charge in Congress. But what makes it worse is the way that establishment politicians have handled these types of outcomes. Because while they have claimed that Bernie bros are toxic and they've done all these terrible things on social media, in reality, they engage in it all the time. So let me give you the details of what happened in the race. Beatty coasted to a victory early Wednesday morning, receiving 68% of the vote to Harper's 32%. But just know that the establishment was concerned about Harper beating Beatty because she was a strong candidate and she had very popular ideas and was not taking corporate PAC money. So Justice Democrats faced criticism, though, from the Congressional Black Caucus members for targeting Beatty, who has served as the caucus's vice chair since 2018. Veteran members rallied behind the Ohio incumbent, accusing Justice Democrats of undermining minority members with progressive voting records. First off, let me just say, if you look at some of the funding that Beatty has received and her stance against the Green New Deal, to argue that she's like some progressive fighter is a little ridiculous. But more importantly, like, Morgan Harper's black. Like Justice Democrats, the Justice Democrats who've actually succeeded in getting elected to Congress, many of them are women of color. Like, are we really having this discussion right now and making this about race when it really has absolutely nothing to do with race? Nothing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course they are, because that's and media lets them do it. It's so callous. And by the way, very counterproductive. So when you have massive racial issues in this country, to hide behind race when everyone in the race is African American, it just it makes people turn off the legitimate, massively legitimate issues about racism. So they say, can you believe they're going after Beatty, who's African American? But her opponent, Morgan Harper, is African American. They say, can you believe they're going after Lacey Clay in Missouri? Not only is his opponent, Cori Bush, African American, she was the leader of the Ferguson protests. So what are you guys talking about? Can you believe they're going after Cuellar, who's Latino? His opponent was Jessica Cisneros, who's Latina. And this isn't about the Congressional Black Caucus at all. This is about protecting power and privilege. So one of the guys they want to protect is Eliot Engel. Eliot Engel ain't part of the Congressional Black Caucus. And guess what? His opponent, Jamal Doman, is African American. So is the Congressional Black Caucus supporting Jamal Doman? Nope. They are supporting their beloved colleague in an effort to protect all of their power. That's what this is about. By the way, Jamal's election has not happened yet. It's in New York. He's a fantastic candidate. And to your point, Anna, the 7 Justice Democrats in Congress right now, every single one of them is a person of color. And yet these establishment Democrats go around saying, oh, can you believe they're targeting people of color? I mean, they just have no bounds. They have no bounds at all to their hypocrisy and the fabrications and the lies that they'll do to protect their own privilege.
Cenk, what did the Democratic establishment do to, or at least how did they handle Benjamin Dixon's reporting on Mike Bloomberg sending cops specifically to black neighborhoods? Now, Benjamin Dixon is a black reporter, and he did an excellent job uncovering the video he did for that story. But they decided to attack Benjamin Dixon for uncovering that, as opposed to going after what Michael Bloomberg had said. What Michael Bloomberg was doing was flat out racist. He was targeting people of color in these neighborhoods specific, and he was not apologetic about it at all. But they defended Michael Bloomberg and went after Benjamin Dixon. They use race as a tool to destroy candidates they don't agree with. It's insane. I mean, all of this is so illuminating, especially this past year, right? Like the way the Democratic Party handles sexual assault allegations against politicians they like versus politicians they don't like. The way they handle actual racism within the party. It blows my mind. There's no end to it. They don't care about the Congressional Black Caucus. They don't care about having representation from people of color within Congress. What they do care about, and I think you're absolutely right, is maintaining their power. Plain and simple. It's obvious.
Yeah. So I want to get into Hakeem Jeffries because he took a victory lap on this. He's the fourth most powerful Democrat in the House. He beat an actual progressive, Barbara Lee. They're both in the Congressional Black Caucus. Progressive supported Barbara Lee. Was that racist, Hakeem? I don't know. Am I allowed to call you Hakeem? Because last time somebody called a congressperson by their first name, they were so offended. They're like, oh my, that is Representative Jeffries to you. Do you have any idea how important we are? Do you have any idea how important we are to the bankers we protect? So we're going to show you their funding in a second. But I want to be clear about Beatty because I know this. Beatty was not targeted. It just happened that Morgan Harper is from that district. And Morgan Harper is a fantastic progressive. And Beatty's a very standard, run-of-the-mill corporate Democrat. Did anybody even know about Beatty before this election? So, no, there was no targeting. Now, Richard Neal, on the other hand, that's another election that's happening. He's the head of the Ways and Means Committee. He is a very powerful Democrat. And yes, I'm very happy to target Richard Neal. There's a wonderful Justice Democrat, Alex Morse, running against him. That election is still coming up. You should definitely support Alex. Richard Neal, they're both white for whatever that's worth, if you're keeping score, okay? And by the way, conveniently, they don't when it's Eliot Engel versus Jamal Doman, but they do whenever it's convenient for them. So, but what we care about is your votes. What we care about is legislation. What we care about also is who's backing you. And if you've got nothing but financial groups backing you, maybe those are the folks that you actually work for. Are you offended? Here, let's show the real record.
Yeah, I want to show the real record in a second, but I just want to make a quick comment. Look, understand how much of a threat progressives are in Congress. It isn't just about the possibility of accomplishing, policies that their donors don't want, but it's the inability to raise as much money as the Democratic Party has been able to raise in the first place. Think about how that establishment works, right? Not candidates, but members of Congress not only raise money on their behalf, they raise money on the party's behalf. So having a bunch of congressional members of Congress who refuse to take corporate PAC money hurts the coffers of the Democratic establishment. I mean, that's a huge part of this. And so since we're talking about money, why don't we talk about some of Beatty's funding, because that's super relevant to this story and seems to get buried in mainstream news. So let's talk about her top contributors in 2019 and 2020. So Nationwide is pretty high up there. Nationwide is one of her top contributors. So is Blackstone Group. So in 1 year, for instance, Nationwide gave $22,725. Blackstone Group, $19,600. Ohio State University, $15,440. Ariel Investments, $12,600. There's a lot more. There are top industries. When it comes to the insurance industry, that's the number one on Beatty's list. So they've given a total of $208,250. So go ahead, Cenk.
We're going to show you a bunch of these as quickly as we can. What you'll see is common themes. Blackstone. It's a giant private equity company. Okay, financial company after financial company. You also have Ariel Investments under Beatty. You'll see others here, and we'll show you the industries as well. So Morgan Harper took no corporate money at all, and she still raised a good amount of money. She did it with small dollar donations, so that means she works for you. And Hakeem Jeffries again on Twitter is like bragging, she didn't do that well. For a first-time candidate to get 32 points is excellent. You know what that means? The reason they're worried is because if she runs again, she stands an excellent chance of winning. So that's what they're actually worried about. So here, show me that Hakeem Jeffries tweet real quick. So He says meltdown, referring to an Intercept article from a year ago, which he apparently still has not let go of, and misunderstood that article completely. And he says, not us. Congrats to Joyce Beatty on a decisive 36-point victory in Ohio's Democratic congressional primary. Up next, and he writes about a bunch of incumbents, of course, and he said, they started this fight, but we will finish it. So he is bragging about how we're going to finish progressives. So can we go to Hakeem Jeffries' donors? I'd like to see who we is, because he says we're going to finish it. Who's we? Let's take a look. Oh, look at that. Blackstone again. Elliott Management, another giant Wall Street firm, a giant law firm, Akin Gump, Microsoft. Look at that. One giant corporation after another, and largely bankers in finance. So Hakeem Jeffries bragging today. Me and the bankers took out progressives. That's why I'm a Democratic leader. These are your so-called leaders in the Democratic Party, and progressives are supposed to be excited by them? Here, let's show them all real quick. He talked about how Lacey Clay, you got to back Lacey Clay. I can't believe they challenged Lacey Clay with the woman who started the Ferguson protests. Okay, let's take a look at William Lacey Clay Jr. Look at that. Blackstone again, #1. It's almost as if Blackstone has bought the Democratic Party. We're so rude for pointing out your donors. Quicken Loans, and it goes on. And then finally, let's look at Elliot Engel, because Elliot Engel's got a race coming up against Jamal Doman, right? Now, Congressional Black Caucus should be supporting Jamal Doman. You think they're going to? Inconceivable. Let's look at Elliot Engel's donors. So we got NORPAC, Pro-Israel America PAC. I don't know how you're Pro-Israel America PAC. Interesting. Is there a pro-Saudi Arabia America PAC? I don't know. Anyway, Apollo Global Management, which is a giant finance company. Rentner Management, giant real estate company. Gee, I wonder who he works for. He works for his donors, just like every other politician. Does Jamal take any of that? Not a dime in corporate money. He only takes money from real people, small dollar donations. You guys should check it out at justdemocrats.com. And that drives them crazy. Not only does it challenge their power, but it embarrasses them, because they say, oh, no, but we have to work for Blackstone. We have to work for Apollo. We have to work for all these companies. And now here comes Jamal and AOC and Morgan Harper and Cisneros and Rashida Tlaib, and they actually work for their voters. That's so embarrassing. I agree with you, Hakeem Jeffries. It is embarrassing for you. And one day, when folks are targeted, you'll know. For example, Dan Lipinski, he was targeted. And guess what? We're going to have Justice Democrat #8. Marie Newman beat him in a primary. She will win her general election, and she'll be your colleague soon. And I think, Hakeem's #4 in Democratic leadership. Who used to be #4 in Democratic leadership? Oh, right, Joe Crowley. Interesting. We'll see you on another day.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.